Alexa, turn on Christmas tree.
Grab your stitching, grab your knitting. It's Flossmas.
So I have decided, because my car is in the shop, I got a ride from a coworker who comes into work exceptionally early, earlier than we need to be. So I brought my knitting to work so I could knit while I'm at work. So that is what I'm doing today. Until, not at work, I'm before work. I've never crafted at work before. I don't usually have time to craft at work. So I got my coffee, my extra large Dunkin' Donut hot black coffee, and I'm knitting. So far I've done 2 rows on my sock. And I'm just gonna keep knitting. Hope you're all doing well. It is Flossmas, day 6. It's gonna be a busy day today. After work, I have to go pick up my car, and then I'm going to go home and stitch. I was able to actually go ahead and work out 4 colors on Henry, not just 3. So once I get home, I will be able to show you the progress on Henry that I was able to get done last night. I'm going to continue working on him tonight, as that is my focus for the week before I work on maybe Friday night. So tomorrow night I will probably work on hedgehogs or a different project for the evening. But of course I will put a few stitches in Henry, because that is my focus to get done this month, is definitely a page on Henry. Hope you're all doing well. It was a blistery cold morning this morning on the way to work at 6:30 in the morning. So I think it was 24 degrees Fahrenheit. And now I am in the warmth of my office, sitting at my office desk. And I have about 23 more minutes that I can knit before my workday begins. So I'm going to go ahead and continue knitting for a bit longer, and then I will check back in when I get home tonight. See you guys later. Well, it is well after 7 o'clock and I'm finally home and just finished up doing some bring home work, which I hate doing and I hardly ever do. But I ended up having to do a wee bit of video editing for work. And this guy knows a little bit about video editing. So I volunteered to do that, and I just finished up. It's now exporting. That way I can get this video exported in time for tonight's upload. So I briefly thought while I was waiting for that to happen, and before I get to my stitching knitting update for the day, I wanted to do a little bit of a little bit of a heart-to-heart with yins about a topic that comes up often in my comments and conversation threads throughout YouTube and Instagram and even Facebook. So one of the questions I get asked the most is how do I stitch on full coverage pieces like Henry? And how do I not allow it to become overwhelming or intimidating or allow it to become fearful? And I have a very short answer for yins. It's a hobby. For me, and I think this also happens with my knitting, I don't allow things to scare me for that because it's a hobby. If I mess up, I start over again. You know, hobbies are one of those things that are supposed to relax us and encourage us to enjoy something and find the love of something. And when we allow it to dictate how we feel through fear and emotions like fear and dread or intimidation, then to me that's not really a hobby anymore. I have always been a person that has jumped at things head first for the most part. And when it comes to my hobbies, I jump right in. More like I dive in, because I want to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can. So for me, when I came to knitting, I knew it wasn't going to take me long to learn how to knit. The initial learning the steps of how to properly knit, or how to do the knit stitch, the cast on, all that stuff, that did take some time. Once I caught on to that and I learned how to do those basic stitches, everything else is building on top of that. So for me, doing a colorwork sweater is no different than doing a dishcloth. It just might take a few more steps. So, and it might take a few more rounds around the needles, which just takes longer. That's all. So for me, there shouldn't be any fear, because it's just a little bit harder, not even harder, it just takes a little bit longer to do it, because there's a few more steps involved. Same thing for cross stitch. Henry is no different than a small 70 by 70 biscornu or Country Cottage Needleworks, or, you know, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. I'm not going to edit that out. Or, you know, something, just any small pillow, pincushion, anything. Because, ornament, anything like that. it's just a whole bunch more tiny X's. So to become overwhelmed or intimidated by that, I struggle with understanding only because it just takes longer to do. I've now been working on Henry for 2 years and 2 days. I started him December 4th, 2016. It is now December 6th, 2018. I hope to have him done in 6 months. So by the beginning of June. It's just a long time project. When you start one of those projects, you plan on working on them for a long time. That's just part of the investment, and I think that's also part of the joy. So I hope that helps answer some of the questions or how I wrap my head around large projects, because I do like working on large projects a lot, and I know there's many others out there that do, and I think I don't speak for everybody, but I think that's how a lot of us approach that. But for me, as a new hobbyist, I don't allow things to intimidate me, because if I'm going to mess up, I'd rather mess up and learn from it, and maybe I might learn a quicker technique or a something that might make the thing better. And who knows? Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of mistakes in Henry. Do you think I pulled them out? No. Can people tell? No. Once I get past that page, I don't even remember where they're at. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter because it's your project. Now, to my stitching and knitting. I'm going to turn you around and you're going to get to see what I've worked on. Last night on Henry, I did 4 colors, and today so far at work, before work, an hour before work, on my knitting. Be right back. Here we are. So, as you can see, I have done 4 colors in this. Actually, 4 of the lighter colors. So I started to put in the lighter browns, and it is starting to fill in. So my goal on Henry tonight is probably 2 to 3 colors. I'm not going to overdo it tonight, but I'm probably going to do 2 to 3 colors and continue to just work on him like that tonight and go from there. Also, I had my knitting at work today, and here is, let me just carefully pull it out of here. So while I was at work today, I think I did a total of 8 or 9 rows on the leg of the sock up in here. So I think I have about 20 rows left to go, and then it will be done. So going pretty quickly here. I will have a pair of socks by the end of the weekend. That is the goal, and that will be the success, because that will happen. Hope you all have a wonderful night. Happy Flossmas Day 6, and I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to always be creative.